Initial reactions to Why Not by Loona usually range from intense head bopping of exasperation to general confusion, possibly all at the same time. The song feels conflicted in its mood, swinging from gritty to enigmatic to overtly lively. Yet I believe that this tension is what makes Why Not so interesting. If we observe the general structural outline, everything seems pretty normal. We are just looking at a typical pop song form. But the interesting things happen within. The placement and juxtaposition of instruments and motives is where Why Not shines, so let's take a closer look at each section. The song starts off by introducing some main elements. The first thing we hear is a bass that sounds like a pitch bend 808 with its attack cut off, so I will call it the 808 bass. It hits on flat 5 and flat 6, a rather dissonant sound. Overall, we are clearly placed in A minor, but there is a certain unrest to the sound, both through the pitch dragging to each note and the notes chosen. Adding to that, the bass is also rhythmically confusing. One would expect the note changes to fall on a beat, or maybe on some value in between, but the 808 bass drags behind in time, so much so that it returns to its original A only when already on the second beat of the third measure. Now, most people probably won't actively think of possible music notation of the intro while casually listening, but the feeling will probably be similar with everyone. This sounds odd. After the rhythmically and harmonically rather unstable intro, we are launched into the first verse. While the 808 bass continues, we are stabilized harmonically by a rough outline of chords, and rhythmically by claps on every beat. Locked into a clear groove, we get a neat stacking of rhythms from the high satellite beep and the raps against the claps. Overall, we are more stable in the verse, but still there is a certain unrest to the sound, and the first verse is rather short, quickly leading us to a slightly different place as if unsatisfied with the current mood that is somewhat gritty and dark. It is with the pre-chorus that we get beautiful full chords for the first time. A chromatic descent and thick vocal harmonies make for a colorful, lush soundscape. The vocal melody follows the chords, staying on one note each bar, first descending, then ascending in a very controlled manner. Through keeping the claps, the satellite beeps, and the chords having been outlined before, this feels like a logical continuation of the verse sound, though a more measured approach. Then we are built up, the vocals ascend, the percussion intensifies, setting up our expectations, and then we get stopped dead in our tracks, get spun around in an extra measure, and let's pump it up! The chorus feels very unexpected, so what is going on here? First of all, we do not get a very full or big sound as one could have expected from the pre-chorus. Instead, we get what is sometimes referred to as an anti-drop, a rather empty and focused sound.
And then I don't give them the drop, I give them the anti-drop.
But there is much more going on with Why Not's chorus. We just changed rhythmic feel, instruments, mode, and overall mood. We now have a 4-on-the-floor kick with a bouncy bass, very different from the dark, drawn-out 808 bass before. Both bass and the new D-da-dum melody hit the major third, which would mean that we are now in A major. However, they also play the flat 7, so arguably we are in Mixolydian. All of this, combined with the weirdness of the effects of the D-da-dums, result in a chorus that is happy to a degree where it feels almost frightening. Coming out of our minor verse, we may feel like it's too major, but at the same time we get a flat 7, so it doesn't even feel fully anchored in A. The second part of the chorus introduces a bright rhythm guitar and a new spoken hook, filling out the sound a bit more, but keeping much of the same vibe. So the chorus is very much a complete departure from the rest of the song. it is like it has a different identity. Where the song felt serious, at times a bit edgy and always driving before, the chorus feels upbeat, bouncy, funny even. There are two different moods, two worlds with little common ground. And both sections feel a bit unsatisfied, not quite complete. Now with all these elements set up, we get something that doesn't happen often enough in pop songs. We start what I want to call a development section. A second verse that explores how the introduced sounds can combine or change. Verse 2 begins with the instrumental still very much stuck on the chorus. Still mixolydian, the chorus bass and grooves simply continue on their merry way, and the vocal melodies also feel very chorus-like. But there is a tiny bit of 808 bass peeking into the song again, which also launches us into the next section. The bass sounds very much the 808 again, yet this time it simply drops down low, and its rhythm is still tied to the chorus. Then we get another section that is very similar to verse 1, but this time we have the pre-chorus harmonies in the back, which means that verse 2 and pre-chorus are now very much tied together. One could even call it a longer pre-chorus with verse-type rapping and 808 bass in it. Interestingly, if we listen closely, we can hear a kick on every beat reminiscent of the chorus kick coming in during the latter half of the pre-chorus. So even here, the chorus instrumental palette has seeped into the world of the verses and pre-chorus. Overall, pre-chorus 2 and chorus 2 are pretty similar to pre-1 and chorus 1, and that is important because it ties the song together. Without repeating these sections, the song could run in danger of sounding like a medley of loosely connected ideas. This way, we are very clear on what the chorus is supposed to sound like. After the second verse, we get a bridge, tied in only by the 808 bass and the kick drum. This section sounds even more dazed than the chorus, almost alien. Initially, we are very much major here, the melody playing on the A major pentatonic, exploring where this tonal direction might lead. Apparently not to a conclusion, because we get another shift towards a minor sound, with the third and fourth chord. Still, we head on with new ideas and try out a different direction. The chorus returns, evident by the amount of dee-da-dums, but very stripped back. The bass hits the same notes as in the choruses before, but the bouncy bass sound has been replaced by the 808 one, a sound that just carried over from the bridge. We also have our satellite beeps again, the ones from verse 1. Then the percussion comes back in, and the bouncy bass and 808 bass blend together for a moment. The chorus builds back up, seemingly heading towards its original form, and then the song tips over. It's still the chorus because it goes dee-da-dum. But now we have the 808 bass sliding around, the satellite beeps, the colorful harmonies, and A minor tonality from the pre-chorus. Even the dee-da-dums get shifted from their undecided mixolydian mode to clear-cut minor, which sounds extremely satisfying. And just like that, so many elements of the original chorus have been replaced that the pitched instruments seem to play the themes and ideas of verse and pre-chorus. We feel more grounded than in any of the previous sections. We have the head-bopping energy of the chorus coupled with the strong bass and full warm chords of the verse and pre-chorus. It feels like we finally arrived at our destination. Two different identities, the more serious minor verses and pre-chorus, and the fun major chorus, have met, mingled, and finally found a solution to coexist in harmony. And just when you think you know what's going on, the song throws you a final curveball and ends abruptly. Why not? Sends us on a journey to unify two distinct sounds, and throughout all of this it remains captivating, funny and catchy. And while the song might feel overwhelming the first time, you start to notice new details and linkages with every re-listen, making even the 100th listen an intriguing experience.